Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Rick Parkhill. I'm the director of brand storytelling, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Julie Davitz, the founder and CEO of a new company called Plus Media. I was introduced to Julie recently through a mutual friend, and he told me about the platform that she had built with Plus Media that allows brands or any media company to connect inspiration with impact and action. What a timely timely business to launch, Julie. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Rick.
Tell us a little bit about, let's start with what was your inspiration for Plus Media and how this came about? I know you spent years at BNP Paribas and Bank of the West and in Impact Solutions.
Yeah.
Tell us about the path here.
Funny enough, it really stems from my frustration. I mean, I've worked in the social impact space on the for-profit side and the not-for-profit side for decades. And what I have seen over and over again is, myself included, inspiration and awareness raising, and then a letdown. I thought there has to be a way to give people a chance to take action and to make it really easy for them. So that's really where it came from.
Yeah, how many times do people, they watch a film on, pick an issue, whether it's social justice or, it's climate change, and they're inspired by that. It's like, gosh, that's important. I should do something about it. And then weeks go by and nothing happens.
Right.
So unless there's a link to action, all that inspiration goes for naught.
Right. And there are, research-based reasons for that. I mean, people, for the most part, want to take action. They are inspired and they are aware of these challenges that face us. But if the tools or the solutions aren't immediate, we've lost them. Then if those tools and solutions aren't curated and vetted and absolutely matching that content, we've lost them. Then if there are too many solutions offered to someone, you've lost them. Right. So what Plus Media has done is combined all three of those. And then on the back end, we also track the behavioral data because we need to know what these messages are, encouraging audiences to do.
So let's back up a little bit and tell us how Plus Media actually works. Say I'm a brand, I've just developed a film on, the plastic problem in the ocean. I'm all concerned about that. Yeah. So I've funded a documentary film about that. How would you help me?
Sure. Gosh, there's so many examples. So we call it the plus effect. And if you have a film or a video, long, short form, doesn't really matter, we embed in the content, in any place in the content, pre-roll, post-roll, during, we embed a prompt. And that prompt allows a user via one click to be taken to a Plus Impact Hub. And that looks like a menu of opportunities that have been curated and vetted. So in your example, oceans plastics, you're watching a film on oceans plastics, you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to do something. One click, you get your menu. Here's what I can learn more if I'm really not ready to take an action, or here are a selection of actions that I can take that absolutely match the content that you've just viewed. And it's all one click. There's no sign-in required, no credit card, no fee. That's it.
So a viewer at any time could be given this option to go deeper into the topic, whether it's somewhere mid-roll or post or whatever. The filmmaker that could decide, the brand could decide where that where that offer comes, really.
Absolutely. You know, I think it was during the Super Bowl, I watched that the Salesforce ad, right, with Matthew McConaughey, and he's
Yeah.
talking about how we need to focus about what's going on the earth versus what's happening up in space. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. Well,
Mhm.
people probably watched that commercial and thought, that's really cool. So where's my lunch? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
let's give people an opportunity to actually do something, or at the very least learn more, to be inspired to do something.
So really so it takes them off to a portal, if you will, right? That Plus Media creates.
Creates, exactly. And that portal, as you call it, can live either on our system, which it often does, or it can live on the client's system, depending on, you know, their tech capabilities.
So within that portal, there could be additional films, there could be shorts, there could be all kinds of information there, and also ways for them to get involved or take action or donate or, you know, join some sort of initiative.
That's exactly right. And what we have found is very successful is oftentimes people do want to give to a cause. But what has happened over the last, I think, 4 to 6 years is that's not often the most often the first thing that they want to do. So if you're always asked to give money, people are becoming a little inured by that. So we put the issue in context. So you might get an opportunity to apply for a job in that sector, or sign a petition, or listen to a podcast. Lots of content producers we talk to have ended up with, you know, great material on the cutting room floor that they'd like to offer to audiences, or maybe there's enhanced material to read or to view that they'd like their customers to, you know, have easy access to. So really, we design each hub, each impact hub, according to what that content producer, that brand's goals are. And we go from there. The other thing that's unusual about what we do is we frame everything around the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because we believe that having those SDGs as a globally accepted framework is a really good place for people to get on the same page about making change.
So do you consult directly with these with the owner of the IP, whoever's, you know, film it is or piece of content it is? You consult with them to develop the sort of deeper learnings, or and other organizations, or do you bring ideas to them about you know, what should exist in that? I keep calling it a portal. I hope that's accurate.
No, we do. And we draw from a lot of different places to do that. As I said, I've worked in this space for years. And what I often find is the brand or the client, whoever they may be, they're very interested in engaging their audience and having impact, but they just don't have the bandwidth, and they probably don't have the depth of knowledge.
Yeah.
So over this last couple of decades, I've been building what we call this engagement library. We have thousands of solutions, nonprofit and for-profit solutions that are all digitally tagged around the SDGs and categorized according to, you know, are we talking about women or children or health or education? So we can call those up digitally, and then we have a research team if we need extra information around particular solutions. We bring that in as well, and then we work collaboratively with the client.
So that's a great point, because, you know, for brands to be fully involved in an issue of any sort, and to be authentic about it, it has to be action oriented. There has to be a way for them to encourage their viewers to go do something, but that takes time and effort and know-how. So that's what you bring to this partnership with a filmmaker.
Yeah, and in some ways, I think of it almost as democratizing access to positive impact, because in my work, I was often hired by those clients, the big foundations or the big corporations or the ultra high net worths, to help them find where to put their dollars into philanthropy or where to put their dollars into impact investing. And I started thinking, why can't everybody have access to these great solutions? And there are great solutions. There are thousands of them. And I think that people would feel better about the world in general if they knew how many solutions are really out there and they had a chance to engage in them.
So talk about measurability. How does your platform collect all of that information and report back to the filmmakers? Or, how many people clicked through to the Plus Media solution, how much time they spent, what sort of data do you provide back?
Yeah, this has been a real eye-opener to me when I started talking to content producers several years ago. Every single one said they wanted to know what impact their story had on their audience, but they were just scrambling. Most people do surveys, and that is not giving you really concrete data. So we can measure, of course, the clicks and likes and shares and impressions. That's pretty basic, but we go a step further, and we can tell our clients how many people signed up to volunteer, how many dollars were raised, how many products were sold, how many signatures on that petition, how many people applied for that job, how many people listened to that podcast, et cetera, et cetera. So we believe that being able to get that concrete behavioral data to the client is really key for planning, your fundraise for your next project, planning your next story for that matter. You can see what is resonating with audiences and where you should go.
So tell us about some of the companies or case studies that you're working with.
We have one of our favorites is an independent filmmaker who just put out a film called Savvy. It's on women's financial health, and I would highly recommend every woman to view this film. So we created an impact hub for Savvy, and one of the best stories that we've gotten in just the last 6 weeks or so is that one of the companies that we highlighted in the Impact Hub, it's a free course called Get Your Shit Together. And the woman who owns this company, Get Your Shit Together, actually emailed and said, my company is blowing up. What's happened, right? Because we listed her as a solution for the films in the Films Impact Hub. So what we're seeing is because we hit those three main issues or blocks really for people to take action, we're getting a 17 to 22% audience engagement versus a baseline of around 2%. Wow,
that's outstanding. Why wouldn't anybody want to do this? I mean, anyone with an impact film, a piece of content that's purpose driven, what a terrific solution. What are your challenges with this?
It's very interesting. I think there are a couple of challenges right off the bat. One is old school producers who really aren't comfortable with what I'm plugging this in and where are people going to go, and I don't understand, and oh, that just sounds way too complicated. It's actually super simple. So that's one issue. Two is that there are many content producers that feel as though they have a good impact campaign with these surveys that they do, exit surveys mostly. But that's really not getting at the heart of what these audiences are doing. So it's just kind of an older thinking of the way we thought maybe before we started using cell phones. Like, what the hell do I want to carry this phone around for? Is that is that really going to help me? Well, yeah. And what we are looking at now is for Plus Media to become the plus effect, that on a product or on a piece of content, you will have our logo as a prompt, and anyone can find a solution where to recycle, the sustainability story of that company or that product. Everyone can have solutions at their fingertips.
You know, over the last couple of years, with all the things that have been going on in the world, you know, you can see the result of that is that the content that brands are producing is so purpose-driven. You know, we just completed the Brand Storytelling Theater screening. We had 14 films selected that we were going to screen at Sundance and until the festival was canceled. But those 14 films, I think 8 of them were purpose-driven films. And that's where brands are kind of are moving towards this impact entertainment that's designed to influence action. And if they're not measuring action, they don't really know the real impact of that investment. So, you know, this is what, you know, Plus Media can actually measure activity that's meaningful.
Right. You know, one of my favorite videos that I've seen in the past year, you probably saw it too, Extinction. It was created by Activista, and it's where Jack Black does the voiceover of the dinosaur talking to the UN. It's had 1.2 billion views. Yeah. And if you had the plus effect with that video, and even a small percentage of that 1.2 billion could do something around climate change, I mean, this is scale at the most positive use. So we can sell tons of products. We should also be able to engage, you know, global citizens who care about things.
Yeah. Somebody today just used it. The new ROI is return on influence. And, you know, if brands concentrated on the return on influence with their customers and their employees, you know, when you think about the big brands and the influence that they have, it's pretty significant. You know, that they could leverage that in the right way to drive action.
Well, it also, you know, builds that brand strength and stickiness with the customer, because all the data shows that is, particularly in younger generations, they are willing to spend more money on a brand if it's doing the right thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Julie, what's next for Plus Media?
Oh my gosh, you know, hoping to change hearts and minds about using Plus Media to bring solutions to everyone's fingertips.
That's terrific. Well, congratulations on the launch of this business, and we wish you all the best. And we'll help you spread the word of Plus Media to brands far and wide.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
Thanks.